Hello everyone, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing great and having a great day. So not too much really happening with the markets. I believe Dash is up a couple points, but besides that, everything else seems to be the normal flatlining more or less until we get some news, which always seems to pop the prices back up. So it appears as though Vietnam's prime minister has signed something into law that could allow Bitcoin to become a form of payment by 2018, which is very interesting. So he's asked the central bank, the Ministry of Finance, and the Ministry of Public Safety to all work on this and, kind of come together to write a legal framework for all cryptocurrencies. Like I said, we've been hearing this a lot from a lot of other countries as well. There have been a lot of countries that have kind of, come forward and said, okay, yeah, we're thinking of also doing this as well, which is very interesting. So now we're kind of like, it seems almost daily now that all, once one of them falls into place, the other ones kind of follow suit and say, this thing isn't as bad as we once thought. And they kind of, jump onto the bandwagon. So it's expected that this process could be done by next summer, which is actually absolutely crazy because they believe that official documents should be signed by sometime by the end of August, September of next year, and then by the end of the year, it could be officially signed into law. This is nearly a complete 180-degree turn from 2014 when Vietnam and many other countries as well came together and kind of said that they thought of banning cryptocurrencies altogether. Like I said, we heard this from Vietnam, we heard this from China for a while, we heard this from Thailand, and we definitely heard this from Russia, who now has their own Burger King coin. So it's kind of interesting to see all of this happening back to back to back. So Estonia, a Baltic nation in Europe, may soon, or rather they may be on their way to launching their own cryptocurrency, not just like Vietnam, but it's been spoken about by other countries that they kind of want to do this as well. And if this does launch, it'll be known as Estcoin, ESTCOIN. So Estonia apparently created an e-residency program around 3 years ago, and it's been kind of popular, but not many people have kind of had to use it. It's kind of more business oriented at the moment. So this e-residency program has around 22,000 people who have officially signed up for it within the last 3 years, which doesn't seem like a lot, but the entire point of the e-residency program is, so if you happen to have this or have signed up for it or happen to be a part of the e-residency program, you're allowed to receive a digital ID for the country, which is great. You're allowed to register a country. You're allowed to access business banking for the country as well. And it makes it possible to sign documents for legal things that are happening, like if you are buying an apartment without actually being present in the country. This is usually possible in other ways, but it takes a long time, especially if you are not in the same country. If you're trying to sign any type of document, it can take weeks and weeks and weeks, but there seems to be a way to kind of streamline it so that it only, you can do it completely online as if you are a normal resident of the country, but this way you are an e-resident. So there was a blog post by the managing director of the residency program. His name is Kaspar Korjus, Kasparkorjus, for anyone wanting to look that up online. Pretty much after the first few letters of Estonia, I had a friend, she heard some sort of rumor that Russia was also making their own kind of coin, and she asked me if it would be named Putin coin, which would be very interesting. I don't know how many people would actually use that coin. So as time is slowly moving forward, we're seeing more and more countries talking about making their own coin or, integrating some of the other systems into their banking networks. But it looks like Estonia could be the first country to actually do this. And it's very interesting because they're a very small country. So you would assume that the larger countries would take hold and, move forward with this. But it seems that the smaller countries, even though they're not economically falling apart, they kind of want to show everyone else that they can do it as well, which is great. So this would be an interesting project because nearly all currencies that we have right now, they call them fiat currencies, anything that has to do with paper. You've seen, I don't know if you guys have been to Canada, I think their money is now made of plastic or something like that. The US is constantly changing and stamping new things on their dollars. The same with euros as well. I think there's certain euros now that are slightly transparent at a certain point because they're trying to stop people from counterfeiting these things. So this would be extremely unique because this will be a currency that will come completely from the government, but it's a cryptocurrency that's pretty much coming, there aren't many ways to counterfeit Bitcoin or Ethereum or other coins. You can double spend within the network and stuff like that, but there are things to stop you from doing so. So it'll be interesting to see a government actually going forward with this. Obviously, I don't assume it'll be like a cap on the number of coins. As the population grows, usually need more currency for the people living there. But this will be something to look forward to as time goes on. A lot of people have swayed or kind of moved away from traditional currencies because they like the anonymity or pseudo anonymity of cryptocurrencies, but this will clearly be, there will be nothing hidden from this because all transactions will then be on the blockchain or whatever they plan on using for the coin. So when you kind of read on about it, it kind of says that anything illegal that will be done with the coin will pretty much be public or government knowledge. So I think my personal opinion is I think that these things, not that they can't be stopped, but if smaller countries are starting to talk about this and larger countries as well, I'm sure this has also come up in many meetings somewhere around America as well, kind of integrating the American system into its own coin. That would be very interesting if America ended up making their own coin. That coin would be extremely expensive because so many people try and jump on it just before the price starts rising and stuff like that. So it'll be very interesting to see how this is moving forward. I spoke about this in another video as well when it comes to like living in a cashless society. We pretty much do this right now. Everything we do is online. When we buy things, when we go shopping, when we kind of just swipe our card, tap our phone, whatever kind of country you're living in, whatever they do over there. But it seems, I think eventually, I give it the next 15, 20 years. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of countries will start moving just towards, especially if they're making their own cryptocurrencies, we'll see a lot of countries doing this as well. And I think we could pretty much be almost done with cash, which would be kind of crazy because I'm used to digging into my wallet and taking out, pieces of paper, but this seems to slowly but surely be fading as everyone is just using plastic or will eventually just be using numbers on a screen. So if this is indeed released, it appears this will be done through an ICO, which is very, very interesting. I don't know exactly why they thought of doing this to an ICO. This will obviously differ from other ICOs because the other ICOs haven't been really regulated in any way, shape, or form in the past. There's been talk of regulation, and I think the US moved forward as far as like classifying them as something, so they have to fall into a certain category. And there's a lot of ICOs around the world that America and Americans, there we go, are pretty much banned from. So this will be one that will be straight from the bank and straight from the government. This will, there will be no, there will be no confusion as to funding for it, but it seems that this will be somewhat public funded through this entire program, but also obviously I assume other people will also have a way to get into this as well. So this is still in the very, 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 very early stages. Obviously, this is still just being spoken about, which is very interesting. Korja says that he's at the moment just trying to gather feedback and information from other people in parliament, other people in banks, moving forward, trying to figure out, is this a viable option? Should this actually happen? And will there be support for the coin should it actually come out? So if the ICO does indeed go ahead and they did choose to do this funding through an ICO for people to actually get this coin, it appears that you must, at the moment, be a part of the e-residency program. However, anyone in the world is able to sign up for the e-residency program, so there's literally no problem with that at all. Even more interesting, you can tell that I think it's very funny when government leaders and do things like this because it shows not that they're out of touch, but it kind of shows that they're trying to get interest from younger people, if I can say that. So another way that they're trying to, not only are they trying to get feedback for this through government channels and other people in the government, other people in banks and stuff like that, and other business leaders around the country, they're actually asking people to use the hashtag Estcoin, ESTCOIN, and the hashtag eResidency on social media. That is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I don't know if you can use hashtags on Snapchat. I do not use it. To actually provide them with feedback for the entire project if you think it is a good idea. I don't know if that's a good or bad idea. I've seen some people say some very nice things on social media. Even if they didn't mean it, they just kind of, like to get a rise out of people. So let's see how that works out. I actually kind of want to go into Instagram after this and see if people have already been using it. So yeah, that's Estcoin, ESTCOIN, and eResidency. If you guys have any thoughts on this, apparently the government will be listening and watching, as creepy as that sounds. But yeah, you guys can actually give your own feedback to the entire country pretty much to say what you think about this coin. So it seems only once they have enough feedback for this, I'm not exactly sure what the exact number is, but they say that they're looking for a certain amount of feedback from the community to kind of give them the go ahead to start doing this. They will only then begin working and creating a white paper for the project once they have enough feedback from the public or whoever that they are specifically looking for this feedback. This is very, very interesting. So not only Vietnam, not only Russia, we have also China as well has also come forward saying that they're making their own coin or are looking to integrate it. We have other news about Ripple and Ethereum being integrated into other countries, and we have Estonia talking about this as well. That there were also like other smaller European countries that also kind of like whispered about starting their own, because there's been a lot of talk. There are a lot of countries that don't like the euro. There are a lot of European countries that don't care for it. There are a lot of South American countries that are kind of falling apart right now. We are not in any type of economic depression at the moment. Everyone's been talking about this for the past 3 or 4 years, that we may eventually be in some sort of depression or something will go wrong with the stock market, and many countries are going to feel the effects of this. So it's great to see these countries, kind of moving forward, talking about let's do this now when the economy is, doing great. But I wonder how many, or if any more countries will kind of fall into line with adopting their own cryptocurrency or making more cryptocurrencies when the entire world is in shambles because of the next stock market crash. Very, 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 very interesting. But I'm actually really interested in both of these things, especially like I said, I wasn't joking yesterday when I was talking about the Burger King coin. Like if that becomes real and it becomes useful, like if you can use that all around the entire world, you have to buy that. Like there's no way that that's not going to become a really hot thing, especially if they're pushing it as they are, especially if Estonia makes their own digital currency. I think the strongest ones, like I always say before, like I give you guys news and information on the ones that I think are the strongest coins or the best coins or the ones that have the best future. But if any country makes their own digital currency, you have to jump on that as quick as humanly possible, because it's literally made by the government, for the people to be used in everyday use. And you better believe that they're going to do everything that they can to get people to also use this on an everyday basis. So it'll be interesting in a couple years if we figure out a way to literally get currency from other countries, as they started at maybe a penny or a dollar, whatever the case might be. And then eventually these things are worth $4,000 or $5,000 as the entire country is using it as their method of payment. Interesting. Alrighty, guys, that is going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys have a great day as always. Yeah, that's going to do it, and I'll talk to you all soon. See you. Hey everyone, thank you very much again for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys would like to help me and the channel, there are ways to do so in the description below. Thank you very much, and talk to you guys soon.